Alright, buckle up because we're heading right back into the Elle Duncan extended universe, where somehow, someway, Caitlin Clark fans are once again the villains for, hold on, let me check my notes real quick, liking basketball and pointing out reality? Yep, that tracks. Elle's back at it and I've got some thoughts. So here's what we're gonna do. We're going to roll the tape, break this down piece by piece, and then, oh yes, we're gonna talk about it. Because this needs to be addressed.
Like, hop on a soapbox for a second.
Please.
Getting a lot of, like, because social media has returned to its nasty form, a lot of whenever ESPN PR is talking about this year's rating.
All right, let's go ahead and return to the land of it's nasty, because apparently that's the theme again. First off, let's just be real. Social media has always been nasty. That's nothing new. It's part of the game. But suddenly, when it's not cheering for Elle Duncan or following her narrative, oh no, now it's toxic. Now it's out of control. See, when the internet lines up to praise Elle Duncan, everything's sunshine and rainbows. But the second people push back, suddenly we've all crossed the line. Interesting how that works, right? Anyway, let's get into it.
And they keep comparing it to 2023. And there is a nice, faction of social media that's like, you're ignoring last year. You're ignoring Caitlin Clark. You're ignoring, but, you guys, we knew last year was anomalous. 19 million for the national championship is bananas. 12 million for the Final Four is bananas. We had a feeling that it would probably not carry over to the next year because the truth is that Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, all of these girls are generational type of talents. And Caitlin Clark is like something that we have never seen before. So it stands to reason that as such, the ratings will be impacted when she is no longer in that space. The reason that we are comparing this year's numbers to 2023 is because before last year, 2023 was setting ratings marks because it was historic in nature. And so Caitlin's never going to get drafted again, and she's never going to play in the college space again. And so we have to compare the numbers to actually track and measure real growth from 2023 because that tells us, okay, this was not just a blip on the radar. It was a Caitlin Clark thing. It was last year's class. It's showing us that it is tracking that these ratings continue to grow and improve. And so I hope that people don't feel deflated in any type of way that the numbers this year were not the numbers that they were last year. We all knew that wasn't going to happen, friends. Like, we all knew that. But we are still seeing huge, our tournament this year, as opposed to 2023, which is the year that we measure, is up 45%. And so to be able to witness the complete buy-in, to witness like the talent that's on the court, because that's also...
Oh, that's a lot. Let's talk about this soapbox sermon from Elle Duncan. You've got to love that condescending tone she uses, right? There she is, throwing shade at Caitlin Clark fans again, just for pointing out that ESPN conveniently ignored Clark's massive impact on women's basketball ratings in both college and the WNBA draft. So, Elle Duncan basically saying, how dare you, fans? You and your facts and numbers, I can't take it anymore. Oh my goodness. Anyway, here's the reality. Caitlin Clark is a ratings juggernaut. We all know that. In 2023, she broke viewership records in college basketball. It wasn't just 2024. The 2024 WNBA draft, thanks to Clark, was by far the most watched ever. We all know who the star was. If you don't know, I can tell you, it rhymes with Maitland Mark. Yet, Elle Duncan out here acting like Clark's impact is just a cute little coincidence, just something that happened. No. And don't even get me started on comparing this year's numbers to 2023, as if that's some kind of gotcha. Newsflash. Clark was also the reason 2023 was huge. Now, Elle claimed that the 2023 WNBA draft was a record until this year crushed it. She even said, if you take out Caitlin Clark in 2024, she's never going to be drafted again. Well, no one's ever going to be drafted again for the first time, so that's just bizarre. But even if you take that out, 2023 wasn't the record. Elle Duncan said it was, but the real record was all the way back in 2004. So there was no growth at all for 20 years, none. No growth, no hype, just crickets, until Clark came along and suddenly millions are tuning in. which, of course, we all know is not a coincidence. College tournament ratings are down from last year, but they're still massive. That's because Caitlin Clark's fans are still tuning in, even after she left college basketball. You can't just erase Clark because it doesn't fit your narrative. And then, the cherry on this wonderful Sunday, Elle drags Angel Reese into the conversation. Not only does she bring up the tired Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese angle, she actually goes a step further and calls Angel Reese a generational talent. Generational talent. You didn't think I'd skip that, did you, Elle Duncan? Why would you call Angel Reese generational?
Yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. Like, it's not just because of one person.
Asterisk, all right, let me get this out the way. This isn't about hating on Angel Reese. I'm not here to tear her down. She's a solid rebounder, no question. But let's be honest, calling her a generational talent? That's just wild. Generational? Off 43.8% shooting inside 5 feet last season? That's not elite. That's not generational. That's WNBA worst tier inefficient. What we're really looking at here is generational hype, not generational skill. But here's where it really gets real. Elle Duncan isn't just wrong. She is part of the problem. Instead of highlighting Caitlin Clark's massive role in exploding the popularity of women's basketball, she's out here lecturing fans. Fans who care. Fans who show up. She's like that teacher who doesn't want questions because it messes with her perfect little PowerPoint. Stop pointing out the obvious. You're disrupting the narrative. Please. If Elle had her way, every new fan who came in because of Caitlin would be forced to do the walk of shame, Cersei Lannister style, through the streets of King's Landing. But here's the truth. It's not just Elle Duncan. It's the entire sports media ecosystem covering the WNBA right now. And they're the ones who should be doing that walk. Because shame on them. For the gatekeeping. For the gaslighting. For the nonsense we've all had to sit through for over a year now. This ain't journalism. This isn't honest commentary. This is agenda-driven spin that ignores the facts. Elle is so locked into her own narrative she's forgotten the basic truth. The fans are the movement. Caitlin Clark's fans are why there's even something to celebrate. Millions watched her in college. Millions tuned in for the WNBA draft. Millions are still here. That's not a fluke, Elle. That's called growth. And that growth? It's not coming from vague good vibes or legacy coverage. It's coming directly from Caitlin Clark's impact. Now we've got Olympic voting drama. We've got Angel Reese getting a Roy vote over Clark. Cheryl Swoops talking wild. Andrea Carter, Annie Apple, now Elle Duncan calling Clark an anomaly while pretending ratings don't exist. It's a pattern, an ugly one, and it's already driving fans away. So let me make it clear, attacking the paying customer never ends well. No Clark fans, no ratings, no CBA, no league. Say it with me, nothing. This is why I get fired up. Because women's basketball deserves better. Women's sports deserve better than what they're getting from people who claim to love the game but act like gatekeepers. Caitlin Clark brought millions to the sport. She gave it new life. And Elle Duncan and her media pals are out here acting like that's a bad thing? Like the fans she brought in are the enemy? If they keep that up, don't be surprised when those fans say, you know what? I don't have to take this nonsense. Name that movie. And they leave. And when they do, the WNBA's foundation crumbles. Because this whole thing right now, it's a house of cards built on quicksand. So Elle, sweetheart, take a breath. Step off the soapbox. Give Caitlin Clark fans a little respect. Because they're not the problem. They're the only reason this sport is climbing. And to my fellow Clark fans out there, keep being loud. Keep showing up. Keep proving them wrong. But hey, maybe only show up for Clark games for now. When the numbers hit halfway through the season, Clark games pulling in 2.5 million, while the rest limp around 200K, they'll get the message. Because that big CBA payday? It's not coming without Caitlin. Anyway, that's my take for now. I might be back with more if the nonsense keeps coming. You know how it goes. Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and as always, thank you for the support. I'll catch you in the next one.